He said I told him to be a man. Can you believe it? Like, who says that? But yeah, I did. I told him to be a man. And he took the house, full custody, and left me begging for weekend visits. Me, Ashley. I'm 32. By the way, it's insane. Right. I'm still trying to figure out how it all went down like that. It's like, 1 minute, we're this perfect couple. And the next, I'm living in a tiny apartment, wondering how I even got here. I probably should have seen this coming. Though, I remember when Mark and I first met, he was just so nice. Too nice. Honestly, it was almost annoying sometimes. He'd always say yes to whatever I wanted, always offered to pay, always made sure I was comfortable. I mean, it was sweet at first. Like, who wouldn't want that? But after a while, it just became expected. And then, honestly, it just became boring. He never pushed back, never challenged me. It was like dating a golden retriever. All wagging tail and no bite. We moved in together pretty fast. I guess I was just ready for that next step, you know? And he seemed eager. He had this little house. Nothing fancy, but it was his. And it was in a decent neighborhood. I didn't have much saved up at the time, but he was all, don't worry about it. Ash, we'll figure it out. And he did. He covered most of the rent, the utilities, even my car payment for a while when my job was slow. I mean, it was nice, but it also made me feel trapped, almost. Like I owed him, which, whatever, I didn't actually owe him anything, right? We were a couple. That's what couples do, share. But he just kept on giving and giving. And it was hard to feel like an equal sometimes, when he was always the one providing everything between us. I wanted to scream, just let me pay for something, anything, but then I'd just let him do it anyway. It was easier. My job was, well, it was a job. I was at the office most days, doing my thing. Mark, he had a pretty solid gig. He was always talking about his boss, his projects. He was super into it, always learning new stuff, always trying to climb the ladder. I mean, good for him, but sometimes it felt like he was more married to his work than to me. I'd be home, wanting to chill, maybe watch some trashy reality TV, and he'd be buried in his laptop, talking about some spreadsheet or some meeting he had. Like, can we just relax for a minute? Then, the baby. Oh, Leo, he's cute, I guess. I mean, he's my kid, but having a baby, it changes everything. All of a sudden, it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about feedings, and diaper changes, and sleepless nights. Mark, he was all in. He'd wake up for the night feedings. He'd change diapers without me even asking. He'd sing Leo to sleep. It was almost like he was trying to prove something. Like, look at me, I'm a good dad. And yeah, he was, but sometimes it felt like he was trying to out-dad me. You know, like he wanted all the credit. I remember one time, I was out with my girls. Just needed a break. You know, it had been a rough week with Leo. He was super colicky, and I was just exhausted. So I went out, had a few drinks, gossiped about my boss and this one girl at work, Brenda, who's a total snake. You know, just blew off some steam. Mark kept calling, like, every half hour. Where are you? Is everything okay? When are you coming home? It was so annoying. Like, can a girl not have a life? I finally picked up, and he was all, I'm worried about you. Ash, Leo's been crying for an hour, and I can't calm him down. I was just, relax. I'm with friends. I'll be home when I get home. And he got all quiet. Total passive-aggressive move. When I finally got home, he was sitting there on the couch, rocking Leo, looking all tired and sad. And I was just like, what, you're being dramatic. It's not that serious. He just sighed and handed me Leo. Total guilt trip. He started doing this thing where he'd go out with his friends. Like, guys' night. Which was fine, I guess. But then he'd tell me he was going to one place. And I'd check his location on my phone. Because, you know, just for safety, obviously. And he'd be somewhere else. Not even a big deal. Usually, just like a different bar or something. But it still bugged me. Like, why lie? And then if I asked him about it, he'd get all defensive. What are you talking about? I was just at Dave's, and I'd be, no, you weren't. Your phone says you were at that dive bar across town. And he'd just roll his eyes and say, you're being ridiculous, Ashley. Why are you checking my phone? It's like, hello, I'm just making sure my man is safe. What's the big deal? But if I went out and he asked me where I was, I'd be like, I'm with Sarah. Why are you asking? Don't you trust me? Double standards? Maybe, but I just needed my space. He just didn't get that. Our arguments started getting worse. He'd try to talk about things. Like Ashley. I feel like we're not connecting, or I wish we could spend more time together. And I'd just shut down. Like, what was there to talk about? We were fine. Everything was fine. He was just being dramatic. Sometimes, I'd even tear up a little, not because I was sad, but because it usually made him back off. He hated seeing me cry. He'd always be like, "Oh, Ash, don't cry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you." And then he'd hug me, and the conversation would be over. Works every time? He started getting into these new hobbies, like hiking, and then he joined a book club. A book club? I mean, seriously, who even does that anymore? He'd be all excited about some author, talking about themes and symbolism and stuff, and I'd just be sitting there thinking, can we just watch TV? Like, what is wrong with you? I even told him once, why don't you just stay home and spend time with me and Leo? You're always off doing your own thing. He looked at me funny, like I was crazy, but I just wanted him around, not because I needed him, but because he should want to be with me. Then he started going to therapy. I mean, what was there to even talk about? We were perfectly normal. He told me he wanted to work on himself and learn to set boundaries. Boundaries. What even are those? He came home one day after a session, and he was different. Quiet. And then he said, "Ashley, I need to tell you something. I can't keep living like this." I was like, living like what? We have a great life. A house. A kid. Everything. But he just shook his head. He said he felt like he was walking on eggshells all the time. Like he couldn't be himself. He said he felt like I was always criticizing him. Always putting him down. Even in front of our friends. Which, hello. I was just joking. He was so sensitive. In front of friends. I'd be all supportive. Like, Mark is so great. He's always there for me. But then when we were alone, I'd be like, can you believe what Mark said earlier? So dumb. He just couldn't take a joke. He brought up money. Again, he always brought up money. He was always like, Ashley, we need to talk about our finances. We need to be on the same page. And I'd be like, we are. You pay the bills? I spend the money. It's a system that works. But he wanted me to contribute more to the house, to Leo's expenses. It was like, hello, I have my own money. My money is for me. His money is for us. That's how it works. Right. He started keeping track of everything. Like a mental tally of who paid for what, who did what chore, who spent more time with Leo. It was so annoying. He was always like, I did the dishes 3 times this week, and you only did them once. Or I woke up with Leo 5 nights in a row. Like, who cares? It's not a competition. But then he'd use those tallies during arguments. You never do anything around here. Ashley. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I did laundry yesterday, even though it was just one load. And I left it in the dryer for him to fold. Whatever. Then he started pulling away. Emotionally, he just became flat, like a deflated balloon. He stopped trying to talk, stopped trying to connect. He'd come home from work, eat dinner in silence, and then just go to bed. He was Mr. Checked out. I tried to shake him out of it. I'd be hot and cold. 1 minute, I'd be super affectionate. Like, oh, baby, I missed you so much today. And the next, I'd be all, why are you even here? You're so boring. I even started comparing him to other guys. You know, my friend Sarah's boyfriend is always taking her on fancy dates. Why don't you ever do stuff like that? Or, my boss is so ambitious. You should try to be more like him. I just wanted him to step up. To be a man. One night, we were arguing about something dumb. I don't even remember what. Probably about how he never listened to me, or how he was always making me feel bad. He was just sitting there, quiet, staring at me. And I was just so frustrated. And then it just came out, you know what, Mark? You need to be a man. You need to step up. Stop being such a softie. I probably shouldn't have said it, but he was just so weak. He looked at me, and his eyes were just empty. And then he said, okay, Ashley, I will. And I just thought, good. Finally, he gets it. The next few weeks were weird. He was different, more decisive. He started doing things without asking me. He got a lawyer. I found out when the papers showed up. Divorce papers. Full custody. The house. Everything. I thought it was a joke at first. Like, he was trying to scare me. I called him, laughing. What is this? Mark, are you for real? And he just said, I told you I was going to be a man. Ashley, I'm taking responsibility. For Leo, for the house, for my life. I just couldn't believe it. He was serious. He was actually serious. He went for full custody. And he got it. He had everything documented. Every time I had gone out. Every time I had refused to help with Leo. Every time I had criticized him. Every time I had used my tears to shut down a conversation. He had receipts for everything. He even had screenshots of all my social media posts where I was gushing about our perfect relationship. While in real life, I was making his life hell. The judge saw it all. And because he was always the primary caregiver for Leo, always the one there, always the one financially supporting us, it was a no-brainer. He even had a video of me telling him to be a man that he had somehow recorded on his phone. Can you believe the nerve? The house, he took that too. It was his to begin with, I guess. He bought it before we even met. But I lived there. It was my home. He said I could have a few weeks to pack my stuff. A few weeks. Like I was some kind of guest. And then he started the process of selling it. Not just moving on, but completely erasing me from that life. It was like he was rewriting our whole history, making it seem like I was never even there. So now I'm in this tiny, awful apartment. It's nowhere near Leo's school. I have to drive across town to see him. And guess what? I get him every other weekend. Every other weekend? Can you even imagine? My own child. And I have to beg for those visits. Mark, he's got Leo in all these activities. Sports. Art classes. All this stuff I didn't even know about. And Leo, he seems happier with him. He doesn't even cry when I drop him off anymore. He just waves goodbye. It makes me sick. My friends. Well, some of them are still around. The ones who stick by me. The others, they just disappeared. I guess Mark spread some stories. The public persona I had, totally ruined. People look at me differently now. Like they know something. It's humiliating. My boss even pulled me aside at work the other day. Said something about my focus and professionalism. Like it's my fault. It's not. It's all Mark. He just can't stand to see me happy. He's probably telling everyone I was a gold digger. Or a bad mom. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I try to pretend it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm free. Right. I can do whatever I want. No one to answer to. But then I see photos of Mark and Leo on Facebook. He's always posting them now. Like he's trying to rub it in. Leo laughing. Leo playing with some new toy Mark bought him. And there's this woman in some of the pictures. She's always smiling. Always. And she's with Leo. Playing with him. She even looks at Mark like he hung the moon. I bet she's just some plain Jane. Boring. Probably goes to bed at 9. But they look happy. It makes me so mad. Sometimes I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. And I think about everything. How it all went wrong. And I just think, why him? Why did he have to be the one to do this to me? He was supposed to be the nice guy. The one who would always be there. And he just wasn't. He flipped the script. He took everything. And he made me out to be the bad guy. It's not fair. I was just trying to live my life. And now I'm stuck here. Alone. And he's got the house. The kid. The perfect new life. All because I told him to be a man. It's just so messed up. I just wish I knew what happened to the old Mark. The one who just let me do whatever I wanted. This new Mark. I don't even know him. And I hate him for what he did. But it's not my fault. It's never my fault. It's always someone else. Always.